And we welcome you here on Elo Hell Esports. It's Pluto Cup NA time. I'm Labosco, and alongside of me is Gunther. And you might think, Gunther, the tier 2 Overwatch player, Gunther? That's exactly who I've got, and it's actually his first cast. So, Gunther, first off, welcome in for your first cast. Excited to be able to work with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see what some of these teams are going to play. Maybe some unconventional stuff, and I'm just excited to see some fun games.
Definitely. It should be. Our first two teams, we've got Tiny Birds versus Team Samter. And of course, if you're unfamiliar with how the Pluto Cup works, it is a tournament that exists to provide a fun and enjoyable experience to ELOHL supporters. So this is just a way for them to sort of have a tournament experience and have a lot of fun. We also get to see a bunch of maps here in the beginning that are control maps. So for me personally, Gunther, I'm excited because I really like control as far as a map type goes.
Yeah, I love Koth. Koth is the kind of map type where people can come out on like hard and fast, weird comps that you've never seen before. And because of how little time you have to respond, that can go a long way.
Yes, it definitely can. We've got 3 different games that we're going to be bringing you here. It is going to be the start. It's our group stage that leads into the, it's Ignite Gaming is the name actually too. So my fault for getting that wrong. Want to make sure we get that right. But so group stages is where we start, and then we will go into, at least for today, then it goes into bracket play, which will actually be, full games. But for here, each team gets one map in the group stage, round robin style. It's a fun style to sort of have here, Gunther. And like for Tiny Birds and for Ignite, these are 2 teams that, they're probably maybe not that much time together, but when you're having control, it's like, let's just get kills and have some fun.
Yeah. I sometimes people say, the worst team wins Koth, and that's not true. I feel like, the better team wins. That's how the game works. But Koth itself does have a lot of random factors to it. The maps are built in such a way where spawns can come back and have a huge impact on overtime fights. And and you sometimes see things devolve into what looks like a deathmatch server at all levels of play. And so I'm excited to see, the balance of how these teams work together and how teamwork really wins the day versus individual mechanics and crazy pop-off plays.
Yeah, we have a range too of SRs for these teams. So those factors that you're talking about become even more, the variable is much higher, right? Because there is so much of that difference between the two teams as far as like, you'll have a 3,600 player on both these teams, but then you also have a 2,300 player. So the skill level between some players is vastly different. And Lijiang Tower is just one of those maps too that presents us with so much for these players to do as far as compositions is the nice thing too, Gunther. So for me, Lijiang Tower is one of my favorite maps because of that, because you can see such a variety.
Yeah, Lijiang is phenomenal because it has like a little bit of everything. You have the wide open maps of gardens, and then the more closed of control center, and you really see everything in between. You see every comp on this map.
And Night Market is the map that we get to start off here, Gunther. And as far as what you can do here, there's quite a bit. You tend to see more brawly style compositions here, though, is one thing that I think we kind of always expect.
Yeah. Honestly, in my heart of hearts, what I'm hoping right now is both teams play sim, both teams TP to point. That's what I want. That's what I want to see right now.
Yes, that would be great. I always think the Symmetra strats are very fun, and we are seeing Reinhardt's on either side right now, and we actually are seeing an Orisa. We do have Symmetras. They are
both
out
sides.
Here.
Both sides.
They might just be going out faster, though, is the only thing, too. That's the only problem. And that's control for you, right? Like,
yeah.
Like you can do that.
Of course. Some, in the past, you'd see a lot of, like, Lucio speeds, and now you're seeing a lot more sim TPs. But, I can hope in my heart of hearts.
Yeah, so Tiny Birds, our team in blue, Ignited, our team in red. And it looks like Well, the Sims are
sticking.
They're
oh,
staying,
let's go.
They're staying with it. They're both going to use the Sim teleporters onto the top. Both are going in. Anti-nade coming through from Kiva for Tiny Birds to give them at least a little bit of an advantage. There's turrets everywhere that these teams have to take care of. It's an even trade, at least at the beginning, but it's looking like Ignited has forced off Tiny Birds, at least at the start, and might be able to get that control early on.
Yeah, both teams are starting to stabilize now, and you saw the TP get broken for, I think, both sides. So really just, you know, backing up and trying to restabilize before this next fight, but that was, you know, dreams do come true. I'm glad I got to saw that, to see that.
Listen, they must have known that this is what you've wanted because it was your first cast, and that's exactly what you got. Flashfire right now just swinging that hammer through, already has himself an Earth Shatter, and it's massive at the beginning, hitting everyone. Nothing that can happen for Tiny Birds except go back to spawn.
Yeah, and if you watch really closely, that fight was turnable, but a phenomenal lamp came out from Zakataksu. It was really clutch and just kept them together. But now it looks like both teams are mostly mirrored on ult economy. I think we're going to see a lot of flashy plays and a lot of big, loud sights this fight.
Yeah, there's a lot. This supercharger, of course, from Samter's obviously something to look at for sure. Goes down almost immediately, too. Next thing coming up is the Symmetra wall, and they're just going to back away for Tiny Birds here. Let those ultimates come out before they decide to re-engage. Still have to wait that little bit of extra time before you can come back in. And they lose Brick. She goes down. So now they're down another player, and they've got more time that they've got to wait for.
Yeah, this is really looking like last fight territory. It was looking like something where Tiny Birds could push in really aggressively and try to sweep them off point, but now with the picks and the ults coming out, it's really looking like it's hard for them to retake here.
They do have some ultimates, right? Supercharger, maybe they throw it onto their Reinhardt, let him just run in crazy with it, but they're getting halted back. There goes the nano boost on. Player coming in Ninja Monkey, but nuked right at the beginning by Ignited Gaming, and Flashfire is able to just swing through like it's another walk in the park, and it's Flashfire, or Ignited Gaming, taking this no problem on the back of Flashfire.
Yeah, as our favorite Owl player Super loves to say, that was a classic case of main tank differential. You know, Tiny Birds really tried to keep their Rhine enabled there, but just Flashfire hit the charge, hit the shatter. It all just came together for them, and it wasn't easy, but they had to fight for that. But they take it, and you know, that's a point on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and now we look at this map here. We're going to Gardens. We're seeing Pharahs on either side. So they are making some adaptations here. I blame the lag as playing a Junkrat possibly too for Tiny Bird. So like they're going all spam damage for them.
Yeah, I really want to point out the difference between, or just look at the Pharah duel versus the Echo duel. In that matchup, Echo is usually favored because she can pick off the Mercy really, really early, but maybe the rest of Ignited's comp is going to push through and they TP point here.
And that's something we'll have to watch for too, is that battle in the sky between both of those players. Brick at least winning the ground battle, taking out the Baptiste of Ignited Gaming. Brick trying to stay alive, gets halted in though, and will go down, losing out to that Echo, but the advantage created early on seems to have been enough for Tiny Birds.
Yeah, from what I've seen, it really looks like these big nades have been coming out from Kiva on Tiny Birds. Oh, but is this turning back?
Oh, it looks like it might be. You've got the Echo now coming back in, and Gabriel, and they've got this so close to maybe being back in their favor. Still no end to this insight just yet. Brick right in front gets the elimination, and now you've got the respawners starting to come in for both teams, but you still have Ignited trying to keep that advantage on the point. Ninja Monkey getting this nano boost, and Tiny Birds throwing it back.
Yeah, Tiny Birds are committing ults to really, really win this fight. Huge shatter, huge wall comes out. That's a lot of defensive cooldowns pushed out for Tiny Birds, but it looks like they're going to be able to keep this together still after this long fight.
Wild fight that we have here. You have the Echo still stalling, but can't keep that going on for too long. And now Ninja Monkey can just tickle with that Tesla cannon and force Gabriel back. That's a wild way that ends up ending.
Yeah, that was so back and forth for so long, but it really was just the fact that I feel like Brick stayed alive for so long and got so much value on that point contest.
And
they're looking for the duel now.
Yeah, they are, and they now have the Magic Brian on that. Out comes the Riptire, though, and it's a double kill right at the beginning, and Tiny Bird starting to swing this back over.
Yeah, this is a definitely difficult retake for Ignite, just based on their comp. Because if you look at what Tiny Birds are playing, the Pharah Junk, that's a lot of spam damage. And a character like Rhine, or like something more immobile, like the Kree they just swapped to, has a really tough time getting over bridge or through these chokes. So they really need to just try to build up more ultimates over the course of this point and get ready to go together. And here, if you see they're going White Room on the right side there, that's a lot worse. That's even more spam.
Yeah, it's so much spam that they have to soak up. Rick, though, gets caught out by Magic Brian, so even though they are at the positional disadvantage, they are still winning the battles in the sky that matter most. So now Ignited Gaming can take control of this point, force those players back, and now we'll be able to swing this back into their favor. But the tire comes out to try and even it up, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Brick, though, coming back on to stall, but it's just going to be that, a stall.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if more spawns come in, but it's just a Baby Diva versus an Ana on point.
Oh my gosh.
And the Monkey's coming back. Are they going to be able to retake this again?
It's looking like they've got their Mercy back in now. The Junk can come over. They take the
Tiny Bird's retake.
That's
wow.
Well,
and they barely used anything that fight. That was just Riptire. They have Primal, and they're going bridge side. I want to see some crazy plays from Ninja Monkey. You got them, man.
Almost got the boop off, but the charge comes in from Flashfire to get to the point. Barrage on the point, not going to find anything though, but Ninja Monkey in the meantime is using that Primal Rage. Rick coming back in with the barrage of their own, and that is going to be a great cleanup for the side of Tiny Birds. They're going to be able to take advantage of the ultimate bank that they had that was so large and win here 99% to 9 and even on a sub 1-1.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that happened was both teams had kind of engagements that were disrupted by the other, and you would see people get picked along the way, and you would see just like a lot of raw damage come out that teams couldn't really deal with. And Tiny Birds were able to win that out because they had a comp that could get to point faster and reinforce for those scrappy fights.
And now we move to Control Point, Control Room. Sorry, it is a point that they try to control. I was sort of right.
It always is.
Right. Tiny Birds now is bringing out the Mei. That's the one thing that I'm noticing here that's a little bit different for them. That can be a huge factor in this map.
Yeah, and it looks like Gabriel for Ignite is sticking the Echo, which he's played for all 3 maps at this point, and they're swapping back to the Brig for the Pack Pocket, so it's really just going to be like long-range spam versus like individual picks and damage.
Oh no, I saw their mage just running into the wall, and I thought maybe they had a TC for a second, but no, we're good. We're good. Tiny Birds is on the high ground, keeping control at least for the moment. Going into the sticky bombs is Ninja Monkey, taking a lot of damage though, having to back up. And now you have Georgie Boy on the Zarya just getting super aggressive in on the player in the McCree, who just was kind of far away from everyone else on Ignited. And Tiny Birds is out in front. Samter, the captain of this team, isn't done yet. So this fight's still dragging on this point, and I blame the lag, trying to turn it now finally for Tiny Birds.
Oh, but a Nano comes out onto Samter. They're trying to clutch this, and Samter is doing it. That's both bubbles coming out. Ignite just clutched that, and my jaw is dropped.
What? I mean, you look, they get the advantage, and they take it anyways. Like, what's the key in a fight like that?
It's really the way that both Zaryas are using bubbles. If you watched the first engagement, Kiva hit a really big anti-nade there. And it just, because of the way that Tiny Birds had their bubbles forced out, they weren't able to push as aggressively with them. And it led to a longer fight where, you know, Brig is good. Brig wants longer fights.
And that's exactly what that was. Not a long fight this time, but when you have a wall that actually works against the team that used it, I mean, I guess you'll take that. They now have this massive ult bank advantage too for Ignited.
Yeah, it's really looking like 4 ults versus 6 ults here. If I were in the position of Tiny Birds, I would push really aggressively and try to force stuff out and then go in, you know, without using anything.
Oh, the solo shatter onto the Echo, who is in behind and uses the ultimate. Riptire is next. Graviton Surge gets used by Ignited to try and stymie this push, but they are down players. The sleep comes on to at least slow it down, but that's all it's going to do is slow things down. Zarya extremely weak, walled off, and it's Tiny Birds taking this back, but you get to 58% for Ignited.
Yeah, they used a lot of ults to retake there, but if you look at the side of Ignited, there's not a lot coming up. The biggest part about this for Tiny Birds is that they are running Mei, and it is so hard to retake a point into a Mei and a Junkrat without a Lucio speed boost.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. Block off Flash Fire, take him down, grab everyone else behind, and they clean it up for Tiny Birds.
Yeah, cleanup is the way I would put that. That was phenomenal execution. Just the wall, the grab. And it looks like they're recharging ults from that. You know, Grav is surprisingly good at helping get other things online. And the ult economy's evened up again. It's not as easy as it might have been earlier for Ignite here.
No, it's not. They do manage to get through the wall, too. Anti-nade is massive, though. Block of the Earth Shatter, and out comes the Riptire to make sure you stay in front for Tiny Birds, and they can clean up. Ooh, a little over-ulting, though, it looks like at the end.
Yeah, and Magic Brian, you know, swaps to the Junkrat to match. He leaves the High Noon. Doesn't really matter, it's not very good. But has Blame the Lag gotten 2 people with his tire every time?
Yes, at least 2 is what it seems like. 3 a couple times, and then keeps getting stagger kills, too.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Oh, but Tiny Birds didn't really scout early enough that it seems Ignite's going to the left room. They were just chilling out in main.
And now they've got to try and take this fight off the stairs. They do use the Nano Boost on a Ninja Monkey, who's able to at least get one, but behind him, 2 players have fallen. Now deciding to just throw the shield up and try and back away, but he just backs away into a bunch of damage from a Junkrat and from an Echo. It's way too much to handle, and Ignited will eventually get to point and flip it.
Yeah, even if every fight hasn't been going Ignited's way, Gabriel has been actually popping off on this Echo. Every dupe has been strong, his mid fights have been strong, and it's just more reasons why Ignite is feeling so strong.
They are feeling pretty good. The grab only finds 1, and now they can at least even it back up, get advantage for themselves, and Tiny Birds is just waiting for their respawns.
Yeah, Flashfire gets picked off early. Ignite, yeah, they need to back up here. They're just spamming as they walk back to point, which is really good to control that choke and make sure the enemy team can't go too aggressive. Oh!
Oh, they're going aggressive anyways, and they're not getting a lot just yet, but now the Riptire is the thing, and it gets the
2 again!
Kill. And again, 2, and the sticky bombs. I've never seen somebody try to kill a tire with the sticky bombs.
Yeah, I respect it, but it really just looks like Ignite's going to have to get back here and go for a bit of a scrappy regroup.
And that's exactly
10% left.
Exactly, only 10%. So now they come in. Georgiebai has the grab to hold them back as well. Players are just trying to get over to the point. Nano Boost to keep the Reinhardt alive through the grab, charging back onto the point. Didn't get a pick. Oh, he did get one! But the tire comes through from Magic Brian. Even fight so far, and Magic Brian trying to be the hero on the point. Pushes the Reinhardt away, but needs to be careful. There's an Ana right in front of him.
Gabriel's so close to dupe here. If he can get that up, this is a clutchable fight for Ignite.
In the sky, trying to get that up. Now manages to get an Earth Shatter, getting the players that are coming back in. The Reinhardt on the point. He got caught in the trap, though. And now you have 2 Reinhardts swinging on the point for the side of Ignited. They're losing players as they come back is the only problem. There's a Blizzard on the point, and it gives it over to Tiny Birds for a 2-1 lead.
God, every fight is Shakespearean. It is back and forth and gritty, and every single inch feels clawed for and earned. This is phenomenal. I feel gifted to watch them.
And it's like the stakes are so much higher too, because this is the only map. If Tiny Birds wins here, it's over.
Yeah, this is best of 1, first to 3 for these first rounds on Koth. So it's every point matters. Every percent matters. And if both teams are TPing point again, then it's just my birthday.
They did it last time. They didn't use it out. So I think it is your birthday. We got to get you a cake like they got Fran when she was visiting Jeff over at Blizzard, and at the beginning, it's going to be a Junkrat that makes this change for Tiny Birds. I blame the lag on the Junkrat is too much to handle for Ignited.
Yeah, early Gabriel hit a big stickies on the TP, but I blame the lag just really pumping out damage. That's a few good late picks for Tiny Bird, so it might be hard to retake point here, but it's not impossible. Ignite can come back really strong into this fight, using maybe an Echo going coast to force out resources, while the rest of the team spams for main. It's all about how they want to split up.
And it looks like they are going to go to that side where that health pack is, not go coast side. They almost have Gabriel to the ultimate as well. Magic Brian just made a switch too, while the rest of the team has pushed forward. So they have both of those players that are going to be in the sky for this as they now start to engage onto each other. The Orisa and the Reinhardt give them that extra shielding too. A lot of shield break in this composition for Ignite Gaming. An important fight for them. The Nano Boost coming out onto the Brigitte. The Raid Brig and the Junkrat just too much to handle, and finally I blame the lag, doesn't get two with the tire.
Yeah, if you look at Ignite's comp, they win the spam war, realistically. You know, you have the Brig, you have the Pharah, and there's no real hit scan on the side of Tiny Birds to force out either of them. But you see Gabriel swapping over to the Junk, and the Rein Zarya feels like it shouldn't be very strong against all of the spam, but Tiny Birds is making it work. Good usage of bubbles.
Very good usage, and that's something that you said so important to them in the last game as well. I blame the lag down, though. The amplification matrix, massive from Zach, and then there's the shatter at the end when everyone was gone. Tiny Bird's using up a lot of ults.
Yeah, if you watched that, Samter hit a really clutch bubble on Flashfire there, which blocked the shatter for the entire team. If he didn't use that bubble, that fight would have gone completely differently, and we'd be sitting here talking about how Ignite are kind of screwed. But they still have Barrage, they still have Shatter here, so it's gonna be hard to get through this choke. Against all this spam, and they're saying, screw the choke, let's just go to the point.
That's exactly what they do, but there's a Barrage waiting for them. Magic Brian gets the triple kill to keep them on this point, and their percentage starting to build up.
Yeah, when you're not running something like a Diva or a Sigma, it is so hard to deal with something like a Barrage, but Georgie Boy has the grab, and I'd stick for that too. That's a fight-winning ult all on its own, and if you look really closely, Fire's waiting on the choke, he's looking to shatter.
Oh, they're gonna be smart enough and know that there's a Reinhardt shield that's not standing in front of them. Well, not gonna wait long enough to even figure it out. It looks like his Flashfire too.
Point again.
But they're gonna TP over again.
Is that a bait?
Oh, it's a bait! It's a bait! So they forced everybody back so they could get through the choke. And now they get the Symmetra shield down. And now they can swing through the nades getting a kill. They get the rally as well, and Tiny Birds stomping their way through onto this point to get the flip.
Yeah, there's so much spam damage coming out on point for Ignite that they just said, well, let's just make them look at the point, and then they just walked in the front door. Samter's coming up on a grab here, and George used his last fight, but this is last fight territory here. There's no real strong defensive other than Lamp for Ignite, and maybe, you know, maybe it's a Nano Ryan, maybe they get close to a Riptire, but this is going to be really difficult, and that's an early rally coming out from Crab. This is going to be hard.
They use the Shatter too, who does get mostly blocked, but I blame the lag takes out his counterpart. But in the sky, it's Magic Brian making the difference to get the flip over for Ignited Gaming, and they do have a little bit of percentage, so there should be enough time to get back for Tiny Birds.
Yeah, this is last fight territory here, and remember, if Ignite loses this fight, they lose the map, and this is single elimination. They have everything on the line right here, right now. This is gonna have to be like a lot of good long-range ults between the Square and, you know, the tire coming up for Ignite. But with the Nano, it looks like Tiny Birds are just looking to brawl.
Use of the amplification matrix forcing everyone away for Tiny Birds. Riptire coming out. So you see them looking at, they put the immortality field down extremely early in anticipation of that Riptire. They never see it though. Don't even know if it's still going or not, but they lose Magic Ryan, was the difference in that last fight. Big Shatter, too, coming through from Flashfire. And in the back, it's Gabriel just going to work, trying to deal with these final players of the live. Fire Strike to manage to get one more down, and it's nothing the Pharah can do but watch as we go tied 2-2.
Yeah, this is game point, this is match point. And Gabriel in that last fight said, no, I'm the good junk player, and killed 4 people. Because sometimes you have to assert your dominance as the better junk player.
asserting dominance, always an important thing in Overwatch, right? When the Lucio v Lucio, you have to assert you're the better Lucio, like, you know, whatever it might be, asserting dominance is important, and Gardens is where we go here for our final point to see who's going to win this first game in group stages.
Yeah, Tinybird looking like they're mixing things up here, swapping to a ball comp, which feels a little counterintuitive seeing as they're on, you know, strong spam DPS, but maybe they're going to try to disrupt with their tanks and then, you know, have all that spam damage coming out from DPS, whereas Ignite is just on a very standard Rein Zarya brawl comp looking to go hard and fast and be aggressive.
Yeah, they switched to the Brig too, get those armor packs as well for Crab, so they are very committed to that brawly composition, go through the white room for Ignited to get to the point to try and avoid getting booped off. They do take a little bit of damage there at the beginning. I blame the lag, though, goes down and has to get res. Brick got too aggressive without the mercy and goes down, and now it's advantage over to Ignited Gaming.
Yeah, and as much as this Brig Moira seems a little suboptimal, it's a lot of healing coming out against what's a strong dive and a strong spam comp. Maybe you don't have the utility of an Ana, but you definitely are able to live through a lot of things that you might not be able to otherwise.
Yeah, the armor packs, along with all the healing that the Moira can give to you, is a ton to have to work through. They had a chance there, it looked like, for Tinybirds too. They're going back around to that other side. They're taking a lot of time here.
Yeah, Tinybirds really just needs to play this slowly, as we see Ninja Monkey jumping in aggressively and responded with a gold.
Yeah, Spoix out now to try and get away from that Coalescence. Ninja Monkey jumping away. Here's the Deadeye, and they're just trying to hide from this Deadeye, which they should be able to do no problem. Gabriel still tried holding it.
Yeah, Ignite comes out with a Coalescence and a High Noon. Not really getting much out of it, but then Tinybirds jump back in and go aggressive with an Nano on the Monkey. And
now they have the mines that get thrown out from Georgie Boy to displace those players, and they're all going on to point right where that Junkrat Tire wants to go. I blame the lag with one for it. Ninja Monkey jumping back in, has the Primal Rage, but doesn't need it. Tinybirds getting the flip here in just a moment.
Yeah, with the amount of raw damage that comes out from Tinybird's comp, they just need to play slow. They need to poke, and they need to force out as many resources as they can, and they went really aggressively with the Nano Monkey that fight, and it worked. And it looks like the retake here is going to be incredibly difficult for Ignite. They're going to have to go through White Room against a Barrage and a Primal. They have some strong tank ults to counter with, but they don't really have a lot of follow-up for those tank ults. There's no Dragon Strike. There's no Dragon Blade. It's just going to be shooting.
Yeah, they almost have a Riptire, and they've actually been able to walk very close to point for free almost. So now you have those players starting to come in on that dive. Flashfire gets pushed onto the point. Ninja Monkey is actually going to get pulled into the grab. Things evening up here. Samter just looking for a target to focus onto. Not very high charge either is the problem. And then goes down. And Brick with the Barrage able to get one, but loses their life as a result. This is still an even fight. Now the Deadeye coming out.
Yeah, it's really just looking like Tinybirds is trying to give space, maybe heal up, wait for some spawns, and Ignite is too. They both just stared each other down real mean-like and then walked away.
A couple people died.
Yeah.
Called it a stalemate, shake hands, walk away.
Yeah, and Ignite crossing back into White Room again, taking the same rotation, but now it feels like there's a lot stronger ults coming out for Tinybirds.
And they've already lost someone before they can even get to the point, and now they have to push through a Riptire and Mines, and the Riptire finds two. Nothing that they can do here to get to this point.
A really strong hold coming out from Ignite there. They really just from Tinybirds, and Ignite, you know, coming back into it, doesn't really have a whole lot. They just have Shatter to work with, maybe a rally mid-fight, but against all this spam damage, this is going to be really difficult, especially going bridge, when it's so much more open. And Flashfire's moved up the map!
Goodbye, Flashfire. Georgie Boy swinging in perfectly to give them the early advantage. Nano boost on to Brick. And it's all but over for Ignited. They've tried their hardest. They're trying to get the flip over at the final hour, but they've lost too many players. This is just staggering as much as possible. But oh, and now the Shatter coming back, and they have the Deadeye, so you have to just stop that. Now they're okay.
Yeah, it really seems like it's just going to be a stabilization for Tinybirds here. Like a strong ult advantage coming into that last fight, and it's going to be Tiny Birds taking it 3-2.
Wow.
They definitely had to fight for it, but they did a lot of things very, very well. It really feels like Ignite fell for the classic blunder of going bridge against a ball.
Yeah. I think they felt like they had no choice probably too, just because of the percentage.
The time, yeah.
Yeah. It's so rough. Flashfire with that play of the game too. So congrats to Flashfire on that. They lose here in this group stage. Now, rough loss, but they have 2 more games they get to play after this. You still get through into the single elimination bracket, but still, like this is our showing for your first game. I mean, Gunther, I'm sorry, but I think we might have set expectations a little too high for you of how close games are going to be.
You know, that's okay. This was just fun to watch. You know, we're not trying to like look for, you know, a Carpe level hit scan player to make a highlight reel. That was just an enjoyable game of 2 people playing comps that they, you know, individually enjoy and individually thought they were good. And they executed a lot of things very well. You know, maybe you didn't see the large scale target focus work, but you saw a lot of strong ult combos like the Nano Barrage that won Tiny Birds a fair few fights. And you did see some strong team play come out, like that bait TP. I did not expect that. Honest to God, I expected them to TP point again and get kind of rolled by the spam damage, but color me surprised.
Yeah, that's something that's a feather in the cap. Like they got a tier 2 Overwatch player to be caught on something like that. Like I would wear that as like a badge of honor for sure. But that was only our first game. We've got 2 more here today still. So don't go anywhere. We're going to take a timeout, and when we come back, we'll have our game number 2.